Holden begins by expressing his reluctance to move out of the Farrell family mansion after his discharge from the hospital in chapter 3103. He tells Sage that he will return to the mansion, promising to avoid further conflicts with Matriarch Farrell, even though their relationship is strained beyond repair. Holden, now in his 70s, sees each day as uncertain and fleeting, but he still wants to shield Sage and his brothers from the wrath of Matriarch Farrell. He warns Sage to be cautious, as their mother places the Farrell family's well being above everything else, including her own children. He emphasizes the harsh reality that their mother could sacrifice any of them if it meant protecting the Farrell family legacy. He advises Sage and his brothers to build their own independent careers outside the Farrell family's influence to avoid becoming disposable in the family power struggle. Holden believes that Matriarch Farrell's ruthless nature will be passed down to Catherine, who will show no mercy once she takes control of the family. He acknowledges that Catherine, although their biological sister, has no emotional connection to Sage and his brothers, making her a potential adversary rather than a sibling they can rely on. Sage listens to his father's warnings, but counters with the reality that starting their own businesses has proven to be a significant challenge. He explains that he and his brothers have tried to build their own ventures outside of the Farrell group, but they consistently lose money. Each time they attempt to establish a business, it ends in failure, forcing them to rely on their mother to bail them out. After repeated failures, he and his brothers gave up on running businesses and instead invested in properties. They own houses and shops, which they rent out to generate a steady income. However, despite the rental income, their extravagant lifestyles, built on years of living in luxury, consume much of their money. The rent they collect each month is not enough to sustain their high spending habits, and they find themselves financially dependent on the Farrell family wealth. While they are technically well off, with millions in savings, he and his brothers understand that these resources are insignificant compared to the overall Farrell family fortune. Moreover, they realize that if Catherine takes full control of the family's assets, their monthly allowance will be drastically reduced to basic living expenses. Catherine, who lacks any sense of sisterhood with them, will likely cut off their access to the wealth and privileges they've grown accustomed to under their mother's rule. Sage acknowledges that the future looks bleak for them if they don't secure independent careers or sources of income soon. He urges Holden to stay with him temporarily after being discharged from the hospital, reassuring him that once Matriarch Farrell's anger subsides, she will allow Holden to return to the mansion. Despite their strained marriage, Sage believes his mother is used to Holden's presence, and she will eventually forgive him. Holden agrees but remains skeptical, feeling that his position within the family has become increasingly unstable. He wonders if Matriarch Farrell will come to pick him up from the hospital, but Sage tells him that their mother hasn't mentioned it. He suggests that he and his brothers can arrange to pick Holden up, and that they shouldn't pressure their mother to come if she doesn't want to. Holden resigns himself to the idea, feeling conflicted about his life choices and the regrets he carries from his younger years. The chapter shifts scenes to a cafe on the first floor of the Fortress Hotel, where Catherine sits by a window, her face concealed by a mask, sunglasses, and a hat. She orders coffee and snacks, but her mind appears to be preoccupied. She leans back in her chair, looking out the window, reflecting on something yet to be revealed. About 10 minutes later, another person arrives and sits across from her, pulling out a chair. The chapter ends on this note of suspense, with Catherine's quiet meeting suggesting further developments that will unfold in the subsequent chapters.